Could Roll.EXE beat Akuma? We rarely see Megaman characters fighting anything besides other Navis. So exactly how much danger are you in if Bass.EXE is rampaging down your street? Could you fight off Iris.EXE in hand-to-hand combat? I'm going to break down where the games indicate all of the Megaman cast rank in power, using common sense and extrapolation to fill in the gaps. Regarding the ranking ratings, I'm not ranking individual attacks, and Megaman is a combo-heavy series. I'm ranking how much destruction would a character likely cause before we could stop them. Assuming we had 8 hours notice, they were going to spawn and attack somewhere on Earth. For Battle Network, I am considering characters in unlocked infinite battery copybots. Defense seems a lot more uniform unless we get into HP pools, but that varies wildly between games, so I'm going to mostly look into their hacking abilities. You might expect Battle Network humans to be comparable to classic and X humans, but they seem to be much more resilient than real or classic humans. A few examples are Lan and Sean being irradiated, Arashi surviving an attempt to blow him up, many characters falling from large heights with minimal damage, the most notable being Dr. Regal throwing himself hundreds of feet into the ocean after using his body to complete an electrical circuit. Then he lived inside of a volcano immediately after. None of those things you can do and expect to survive. It would be a miracle to survive just one of those. Basically, no humans display unusual strength, but they have some kind of greatly boosted healing factor and or resistances to impact and radiation. Something top of H. Most Navis have the same base abilities. They are capable of flickering short distances with a buster option that in an unlocked copybot would likely be around wall level. They are also portrayed as having superhuman strength, agility, and durability compared to Battle Network humans. They also can use battle chips and can fully restore their HP by jacking in and out. Plus, most Navis can be backed up and reloaded if deleted. With pretty basic chips, I see normal and heal Navis approaching Colonel's level. Small medium city power, but enough defensive options to make neutralizing one tricky. Probably the most mysterious and difficult character to evaluate, Glide.exe has never been seen properly fighting aside from the anime, which isn't canon to the games. He's only been seen creating gusts of air with his arms to extinguish cyberfires, flying and dive attacking opponents, and using a screen nuke attack called Glide Flash. My gut is saying he's very strong, but I can't come up with much justification, so I'm putting him ahead of normal Navis. I think those glimpses put him above them. They may be programs, but Mr. Progs are shown to be pretty useless. They can sometimes heal Navis or generate electricity at the expense of their own life, but I don't see one beating a Battle Network human. Unfortunately, there are so many viruses they should be their own video if I cover every family. Worse, they actually vary. A lot. Not like Robot Masters being distributed across E and F. No. There are viruses so weak I don't think I could justify them above H, and others are probably stronger than normal Navis. Maybe one as high as B or A. So to generalize, I'm putting them below normal Navi, but let me know if you'd be interested in a part focusing on every virus family. I don't see the point of saying anything about base Megaman.exe, because his power mostly has to do with the forms he can shift into. Without that, you kind of just have a normal Navi with early access to new technology. Megaman's unrelated love interest, Roll.EXE's most notable abilities, are the ability to create girly sparkles of invulnerability when moving, summoning weak virus allies, smacking enemies with her ribbons, and firing chip-deleting arrows. She can also recover some health periodically, and created a digital platform one time. Probably not going to consider that one. This survivability and ability to summon viruses on top of basic Navi abilities has me thinking she could almost handle craft, on her own, over 50% of the time at peak. Medium-large city power with ability to heal or dodge. Maybe the ability to corrupt weapons if chip deletion extends to nullifying primitive electronic weaponry. Gutsman is the tough Navi of Lan's classmate Dex, and has super armor, meaning he cannot flinch when injured, can slam the ground to send shockwaves out, or crack floors, and can fling projectile punches while invincible. Among some less significant abilities, I see him approaching Roll.EXE with those wide range attacks, easily being able to take on a small metro. Protoman, Megaman's cold rival, and the Navi of Chod, or Chu if you don't like the English dub and trolling the French, is the ultimate Navi sword fighter. Seemingly able to use any sword attack, innately without chips. He can also release sword beam attacks, is a particularly fast Navi, with multiple combo moves he uses to corner and delete enemies, and has a shield he uses between attacks. I'm putting him bottom of A with small country offense. Fireman, as his name implies, is a master of burning, equipped with double flamethrowers and various kinds of fiery bombs. Great offense, but everything else is pretty basic Navi level. So I'm thinking behind Pandora with large city offense. Fireman has been seen causing computers to overheat and smoke because they are connected to the internet near where he is setting fire to it. Heatman, Fireman's lighter-shaped brother. Fights by blowing heat waves or summoning flames from the ground. He can even summon a remote lighter to corner opponents or jump and flop, releasing flames all around him. Uneven terrain really challenges him, so I think he's going to fall behind Craft with medium city attack. The youngest brother under Mr. Match's care, Flameman, is a bit lazier, though he can blow fire. He prefers to rely on his invincible support candles, which can make him invincible, heal him, or summon fiery buddies to circle around opponents. With this trickiness, I say he's earned a spot ahead of Prometheus. Considering Cookman's only feat is being casually assassinated by Shadow Man without putting up any resistance, I'm just going to put him at the bottom of D. Maybe his name was supposed to be Cooked Man? If this was scaling every Mega Man character's ability to make curry, maybe I could make a case for S. Number Man is a Navi built for understanding the differences between credits and debits, not combat. He is less mobile than other Navis and fights mostly by sending 3 numbered balls at opponents, where 1 is always super low, and these balls weaken as they take damage. He can also test his luck by throwing a dice bomb that deals variable damage or throwing geometry equipment. I see him just edging out a normal Navi being this lethargic with such disappointing combat abilities. Sure, he could crack any cipher, but what then? Stoneman.exe doesn't move at all, taking his symbolism seriously. As an autonomous Navi, he cannot use chips either, but can create defensive rock cubes without a chip. Beyond that, he can stomp his outer feet to make rocks fall from the sky, which is a bit more terrifying than it sounds. Sometimes he also lifts his feet to fire lasers straight ahead. His biggest strength is his slightly high HP maxing at 800. I think I'm going to put him behind Shadow Devil. He's going to kill a lot of soldiers by dropping a rock on their head, but they can basically just stand there and fire away. He's so badly spec'd like the X-Hunters. City block offense, solely because he can't move, but casualties will occur. Colorman has a little more mobility than Stoneman, considering he has to lean to roll his ball. His attacks include kicking his ball, or remote control bouncing it at enemies. He also has 2 support guys who can release waves of fire or water, and move to block attacks. I'm giving him a small city and a spot behind Massimo. Rockman.exe is a master of electricity, and is able to levitate. He can call down lightning to smite foes, shoot it forward from his hands, or throw ball lightning that homes in. He can also create coils to spread his attacks even further, many of which stun. He can also sometimes teleport behind opponents when attacked, but beyond that, isn't as threatening fast as you might expect. I'm thinking he'd fall behind Model.EXE with his sheer damage potential, and ability to fill the battlefield with coils. Known for his chilly breath, Iceman can create blocks of ice to push at enemies. Freeze them with his breath, mold the air into ice spikes to fire or rain down, snowflakes that create giant spikes where they land. He can also throw icy bombs. I see him behind Ultimate 4th Armor with large city attack. This guy is tiny and can hide like few others. Talk about a war of attrition, unless it's summer. Bombman fights by kicking bombs that explode in a cross shape and planting mines, unlike any similarly named video game characters. This would actually be pretty good if he was proactive, but he likes taking a timeout between bursts of kicking bombs. He should be above Protoman, but I think I have to put him behind normal Navi, because he likes to slack off for long periods. Even a small-town police force would gun him down easy. Shadowman.exe is basically just a ninja. So he can create doubles capable of doing most anything he can, which includes slashing with a katana, sending flame waves ahead, dodging and throwing precision shuriken. He can even teleport next to opponents and use a Muramasa to repay them any damage they manage to inflict on him. That raises an important question. How much HP would a human have? It's not a perfect estimate, but considering wave-changed humans start with 100 HP, I'm going to assume a human has some amount below 100. Otherwise, I have to assume if Shadow Man was shot 10 times, however much HP that did, his Muramasa would be like taking 10 bullets all at once. All of that is to say, no matter how you look at him, Shadow Man is strong, maybe even top of A, and considering he genocided an entire country's navies at his peak, I'm going to say his offense is around country level with humans too. Another lazy bones, Magic Man also remains locked in place when fighting, but he can briefly phase out of existence when calling support viruses. Aside from that, he occasionally fires a magic fireball straight ahead. He's got to go behind pallet. He might be city block level. The viruses are more dangerous than he is. Wouldn't you like to hear about Woodman? He's slower than most navies, but quick for the first battle network. He likes to hop around, growing spiky trees in front of him, or bending over and having spiky towers rise up around him. He can also call upon logs to make his opponents weave between them. Oh, and he can grow an apple bush to eat and heal himself. I see him falling behind Pandora and Prometheus. Sharkman has a fairly simple setup. He dives under the ground, creates 2 decoy fins that will attack for him, and only comes up when he himself is hurt. Then he can pull geysers up from the floor in front of him. Doesn't sound that crazy, but it's pretty effective. I'm thinking just ahead of Gutsman. Skullman mostly breathes out fireballs and turns his arms into scythes, then sends them into enemy territory to help him flush out his victims. He can also grow and throw his head at opponents before summoning it back onto his neck. I'm seeing him crawling up behind Gutsman. Pharaoh Man likes to stay back and let his support sarcophagi or traps do the work. Each coffin opens and releases a random attack, ranging from a laser, a homing rat, or throwing a block at opponents. He also sometimes sets a button that, when stepped on, unleashes a random trap. It could be a snake to pursue you, poisonous Anubis statue, needles, or meteors. His coffins also help block attacks. Given the extreme passivity, I don't think I can go higher than Awaken Zero. Brightman may be able to whip you with his plugs, or even sap your energy, but let's face it, nobody is dodging the laser that can turn once. If he sees projectiles coming his way, he can also create an electrical shield. I'm going to say ahead of Ultimate Reploid Armor. Needleman's most notable attack is spinning in the air and firing needles all around him. He can do a lot of damage, but he spends most of his time strutting around. He'd probably take out a good portion of a city, but fall shortly after. I'm thinking behind Copy Sigma. Starman fires arrows around him, but mostly teleports around, calling stars to rain down on his enemies. He also can summon a crescent moon to orbit on the battlefield, but the falling stars is the killer move. I think he can edge out Axel with small country offense. Swordman is not too animated, doing a lot of floating in place and throwing swords or sword beams at opponents, but he can also move pretty quickly when he wants to try to stab someone with his butt. I think he might edge out X-Fire. The swords sometimes block attacks. It's not that bad. I think Gravity Man needs to go behind Raw Thor. He just floats, sometimes blocking attacks with his big arms and throwing out balls of inverted gravity, or altering gravity near him. This is pretty major sitting duck syndrome. Maybe he'd flip a few people before getting deleted. What is he gonna do? This Zero is not quite as strong as the original Zero. He's got a number of familiar moves, including a weaker form of Awakened Zero's instant kill move, and can deflect attacks with a sword, then teleport to attack. That sounds good, but he's just not as fast or able to string together combos. He can also use a Raikoha-like move, but with severe limits and has sort of omnipotence wherever his viruses are. I think he's secured a spot ahead of Vile V. The Life Virus is theorized to be the ultimate virus created by combining all 4 main elements. In its first version, it could regularly generate children, prototype-looking versions of it, coded to each element. But it was later refined to be able to use these abilities itself, creating a series of fence posts, calling down a line of lightning, sending out a wave of icy stalagmites, or belching fire. It is also able to occasionally generate a life sword, a life beam, or call down a small asteroid on its enemies. It doesn't move much, though it can regenerate a barrier. This version 2 can also eject from the larger body if it takes too much damage and sprinkle spores to bring opponents to the verge of death. Something else has to finish them off though. I'm putting this behind Axel, mostly because its form mobility holds it back. Clockman can time travel, but in combat he's not rushing. But he's not lazy either. His only attack is throwing clock hands, but he has a support clock that will summon support every 15 cyber seconds. At 15 seconds, it opens time holes and releases lasers in front of Clockman. At 30 seconds, it opens a hole and Crimson Dragon pops out behind his opponents to snap at them. At 45 seconds, it opens a hole for Rogue to appear and slash a couple times. Every minute, the clock itself turns into a laser. These summons may just be recordings though. If they are real, that raises questions like, is Rogue trapped in a pocket universe with motivation to throw so somebody can free him? The attacks on paper are good, but the fact they run like clockwork steals a lot of their sting. Even not picking up on the predictability, they only require a casual hop to evade. I think above Gutsman is as high as I can put him. His time travel powers seem to have some major limits too. Airman can blow small tornadoes ahead, blow an explosion ahead, or create 2 homing whirlwinds. I'm thinking behind Sigma's strongest street body, Small City. Quickman mostly attacks with his boomerangs, either throwing them straight ahead or in a figure 8. But he can also use it like a knife. He moves rapidly in bursts, taking a few moments to catch his breath. If he is attacked, any time besides when he is throwing a boomerang, he will use his boomerang to deflect the attack and immediately throw it. This has led to him being one of the easiest Navis in the series. If he had a chance to show his speed, he might be able to give him military trouble, but as soon as they realize he can't help throwing a boomerang after deflecting a bullet, he's done. I think Stoneman would barely get better results. Cutman is a bit neurotic and only likes fighting while hugging rocks and jumping around at a slow and steady rhythm. That's a pretty serious disadvantage, and his only attacks are snipping with the scissors on his head, tossing some scissors, or sending remote control scissors to slowly orbit around another rock. I guess that's better than a normal Navi, but not by much. Nightman can shrug off non-piercing attacks when he isn't attacking or moving, which he rarely does. When he moves, it is one hop forward, which upheaves the ground around him, reducing opponents' movement options. His offensive options consist of throwing his mace at the ceiling or sky to rain down tiles, straight ahead, or in a circle around him. There's some good stuff here, but not much synergy. I'm seeing the military wearing him down, even if their bullets are just nicking him. He doesn't have the agility or range to put up much of a long-range fight, especially since doing anything will leave him hurting. Ahead of Redip's, he's basically just a couple steps above Stoneman. Magnet Man is a bulky boy and immune to pain, so he'll take whatever comes his way without flinching. His magnetic powers also allow him to levitate, meaning terrain is irrelevant, and he's surprisingly nimble for his heftiness. His attacks include flinging magnets that arc once at opponents, creating magnet traps to lock his prey's feet. He can release slow homing ball lightning, and even split into 2 to tag team. Though he never used it in battle, he can also create magnetic shields to deflect incoming projectiles. I see him almost meeting Protoman if he can shield himself to survive onslaughts, while binding the legs of any military force sent his way. His offenses are relatively modest, but I see his agility and defense allowing him to subdue a small country. He who determines the positioning on the battlefield controls the outcome. Freeze Man is picky about the conditions he likes to fight in. Cold, ice-covered ones. Luckily, he can release enough intense cold to freeze over the terrain and push enemies away. His attacks consist of releasing a series of ice spires from the ground at opponents, or freezing the air above so it comes crashing down his icy spikes. He is also capable of freezing himself inside a defensive block of ice. It buys him a bit of time, but he's another stiff-kneed Navi who never moves, so I have to put him just ahead of Stone Man. Gateman doesn't waste his male privilege to open his shirt to flash his enemies with his portal to elsewhere, possibly Merkland. By doing this, he can summon soldiers to assist him, or call forth a cannon. He can also summon a sturdy set of doors protecting a portal to block incoming attacks. though the support portal can also open to allow an evil arm called Devil Hand to swipe at opponents. Hence why it might be connected to Merkland, the digital Hades. This makes him a bit tricky, but I do think an army could get him before he destroyed much more than a medium-large city. Right behind Gutsman. Toadman has a bit of a reputation as a weakling. But is he really? He goes into battle with 2 lily pads he likes to ride. These lily pads also release tadpoles occasionally. Sometimes he throws a bouncing frog plushie, leaving a puddle wherever it bounces. His best attack is a combo move where he ribbits an electrified note at opponents, and if it strikes and paralyzes them, he teleports next to and punches them. Alternately, he can teleport anywhere there's water. He does a lot of standing, though his lily pads do move. Still, his attacks aren't great. Aside from the perfect storm of fighting at sea, even then it's not as amazing as some Navis we've seen. I'm seeing him just surpassing Cutman. Yes, Thunderman can call down thunderbolts to smite his enemies, 3 at a time. But he also has 3 cloud buddies that can corner opponents and hurl ball lightning or discharge electricity. Finally, he's able to levitate and fire electrical beams from his hands. Though not too quickly. He likes to stay toward the back of any battlefield, which might make approach tricky, but ultimately would probably cut his rampage short. I see him nearing Heatman's level. Snake Man is a bit of a crafty coward, happily sitting in his pot and hiding whenever someone has him in their sights. Meanwhile, he summons snakes from any nearby holes. He can also fire bullets from his fingers and lunge forward. He's very situational. If you faced him in the Grand Canyon, maybe you could talk him up to Planetary, but that would be a very favorable matchup. Most of his matchups would be closer to Freeze Man, maybe just behind him. I could see him just hiding and the military just packs his base into a sealed box. If he didn't, he could be severely throttled if there are no nearby holes. Napalm Man is equipped with 2 machine guns for arms, can summon more machine gun sentries to provide support fire, and can fire a volley of napalm bombs that, fittingly, continue to burn wherever they land. To keep YouTube happy, let's just say he is built for war crimes, would make many soldiers desert, and could easily match, if not exceed, Protoman.exe's destruction. You can look up his namesake on your own time. Planet Man is another lazy fighter who likes to let the elemental moons orbiting him do most of the fighting. You can also call in mini fighter jets or suck meteors toward him. The moons release attacks based on their element or heal him, but can also be destroyed if they are hit with the element they are weak to. This would be a complicated fight, with military, firefighters, and farmers having to fight in unison. But with a very stationary target, they would take him down with little more than a city block worth of damage. Right ahead of Nightman. Base is capable of growing by absorbing the remains of defeated viruses or Navis. At base, he has a regenerating aura capable of negating all damage below 100 to 150, and fires energy balls, a continuous stream after a short charge. He can also leap into the air and strike down, obliterating a wide swath. If we highball and assume Battle Network humans have 100 HP of vitality, they would need to hit him with a single attack that could be lethal to any human to make him vulnerable. But you might remember I said Battle Network humans seem way more durable than regular humans. So, for us, that might not even be enough. I believe we have sufficient weaponry to drop his aura, but we'd have to keep doing that or finish him quickly. I think he might destroy a medium country before we can turn the rest of the world into a nuclear wasteland. But at least Base is deleted, for now, above Shadow Man. Gospel is a fusion of bugs that became alive. It may not move much, but it can expel elemental breath, constantly release bugs. It can send homing waves through the ground, fire a drill forward, or even summon any Navis its bug data included. Also, it can only be damaged by attacks that target its open mouth when it is attacking, which would only be obvious to game-savvy soldiers. It appears it would move slow enough we could limit the damage to a large city, but it would not be an easy fight. Given its incredible resilience, I'm putting it ahead of Base. Here's where hacking starts to come into play. Flashman is capable of brainwashing anybody who sees him flash. This brainwashing can last as long as he's alive. Aside from that, he can roll little light balls that strafe back and forth, spray lightning from his hands, and summon light bulbs that will flash and leave anyone who sees it paralyzed. I see just the surprise of brainwashing people allowing him to surpass Iceman. Flashman certainly moves as quickly and rapidly as you'd expect. I think he could take down a small country. Beastman can hop around and claw or lunge at you, but his most potent ability is hiding his body away and chasing you with just his arms and head. I think I see him just edging out Gutsman with his agility and ability to hunt you down or multitask. Bubbleman is a cowardly crybaby and likes to dig a hole to draw trap-filled bubbles from while hiding. Sometimes he will throw a crab to chase you or shoot a few needles. But if he can, he will only fight you if you are already injured. Despite what you may expect, these bubbles are strong. Fill up the battlefield and traps shoot ahead if bubbles are burst. I'm putting him behind Skullman because he moves, but very predictably. Even if his bubbles cause a lot of fatalities, he's going to get hooked and grilled before long. Desert Man is just a bunch of sand, so he can disintegrate upon every attack, or generate sandy hands to throw at you, or drop on you as bricks. He can also create pitfalls even where there is none of his sand. That is all to say, unless it is raining or you spray him with water. Since he is sand, he clumps up and can be pummeled. I can see him edging out Roll.EXE, but he won't be very tricky once somebody tries water. It's possible Plant Man can stimulate plant growth and manipulate real-world plants. And it wasn't the tree's computer that did that. Combat-wise, he usually flings a wall of needles or threads vines through the ground to catch, trap, and sap opponents. He can also surround them with delicate flowers that will paralyze or confuse if ignored. He can also create a leaf shield that will heal him if attacked, and for the longest time, I thought this was a beta move, but I actually have footage of it. So this is actually a real move that he's just never used on me before in my entire life. And like you can see this footage, he just keeps using this move. Maybe it was cut in the American version? Wherever he throws buyers or threads brambles, he has to stop moving. As good and fast as the bondage vines are, he's going to be deleted before they can catch anyone. So I'm putting him ahead of Bubbleman. Drillman is able to drill through the ground or other dimensions to teleport elsewhere alongside decoy drills. The drill on his head also deflects attacks like a shield, but can be broken with powerful enough attacks. Though he can just tunnel into another dimension for a few seconds to replace it. So yeah, he definitely has a big lead on Napalm Man and Protoman. None of those abilities are from a canonically questionable spin-off. Metal Man is so tough he can stand on any terrain, is nimble, and can break through almost any defense. His attacks include releasing a barrage of missiles, bashing things into the ground with his big fist, and yes, throwing a boomeranging circular saw. Oh, and he can create gears to till the ground. I'm putting him ahead of Fireman. The King of Cowards is Kingman, who likes to stay as far from the fighting as possible, while his pawns and knights fight. The pawns are pretty harmless, but the knights hop after their target, sending shockwaves with each jump. Unfortunately, he benefits from a confined space and will barely edge out Nightman, fighting a full military. He's also not going to attack except to defend and protect himself, so his offense is going down as justified self-defense level. Your number one first aid wingman, Bowman, has a big machine gun capable of firing bowling pins, whether as bullets or targets for him to smash with a well-aimed ball. Any pins he knocks over will home in on his opponents, and they can hurt. As silly as it might sound, I'd put him behind Fireman. Don't underestimate him or he'll make a turkey out of you. Whoa, I think we just shifted to the white universe. It's kind of foggy, like there is an incomprehensible enemy. Mistman can release mist from his lamp, or exit and body slam you. No matter what, he cannot be hurt, but his slow-moving lamp can. Yeah, he goes ahead of Kingman because the lamp isn't going to last long, no matter what he tries. Punk likes to squish himself into an invincible ball and roll around. He can detach his pauldrons, which are tops, and have them attack while he tries to bash his opponents with his tentacle arm, or use them as a shield. This sounds good. He's a wrecking ball, right? In theory, but if the floor is at all uneven, or any terrain blocks his path. He can't roll around very well. So he's got to go behind Gutsman, unless you want to give him the dream arena of one endless empty parking lot. Copyman is so mysterious, it is hard to rank him. He was seen copying Gutsman one time. Could he shift freely like Yuichiro's experimental Navi? Or could he only copy one Navi at a time? Is he Yuichiro's Navi? If that is the case, we can store at least 6 Navi forms, which is as good as the 6 Navis. Honestly, he's unrankable, so I'm putting him with normal Navis. You could highball and give him every Navi with the ability to swap like Model A, but that might be far beyond his limits. Darkman likes to teleport around, changing his clothes and standing there sinisterly. Depending on his color, different elemental attacks occasionally emanate from him, like beams of electricity, flames, or chunks of ice. He can also open holes to fill the battlefield with bats. I guess ahead of Heatman? Yamato Man is basically a spear samurai, able to attack from a distance and reflect projectiles with extra force. He can also call in little feudal Japanese people to help him secure the battlefield. I'm seeing him behind Bullman. The king of the Underdent, Serenade, is a bit apathetic. He has protective sashes that reflect any damage and move him to another panel if it is possible for him to move and he isn't attacking. This means he is effectively unbeatable unless you can severely limit his movement options. His offensive options include releasing a little sparkle or absolutely barraging anything in front of him with rapid-fire bullets. I don't see any way he goes below Albert. Alpha is a gelatin monster capable of creating clones that are extensions of it that can absorb people and things. The attacks it itself uses include swiping his hands, chasing enemies with a machine gun, and firing a laser into the ground a little bit ahead. When it is frightened, it will spray alternating electric blasts ahead for a few seconds, or fire a missile straight ahead. It may not move, but it constantly covers its weak core with protective slime that must be blasted off. I think this thing has to go behind Dive Armor Eco. Bass.EXE is basically the previous base, but with a 200 HP aura and the power of Gospel. This means he can rain down Gospel's claws, spray its breath attack, or release a devastating laser. This is the point where our best weaponry might not be enough to scratch him. Even if we did, I still think Earth is cooked with his speed and those new attacks. I'm seeing him above next Dive Armor X. Ring and Turbo Man are tough to rank fairly given they have only one documented attack each. Throwing her hair ringlets as boomerangs for Ring, and calling down flaming wheels for Turbo Man. Turbo Man is also able to turn into a car, and presumably run people over. Ring also seems to be able to use each of her braids as a melee sword. That's not much, and we don't know their tactics, so I'm going to put them out of Number Man, with Turbo Man higher because he's got to be able to run you over, right? I'm not covering every style change in every element. Instead, I'm going to talk about how I'd rank the elements roughly. I'm going to say Fire is the strongest, being able to walk on lava and attack behind shields or terrain with a flamethrower. Aqua is second strongest for being able to negate slippage on ice, and it also can deal damage just behind a shield or hazard. It's also held back because it can take quad damage from electricity if on water or ice, Oct if also in a bubble. Wood is the second worst on account of how niche its charge shot is. If you are positioned well, it can be good. Being able to heal whenever you touch grass is very nice, but you're at serious risk of being burned, which is going to happen more often than being Aqua on ice. Alek is kind of awful, with a weak charge shot that can paralyze for a second, and that's its best use. It can come in clutch, but not near as often as attacking behind shields. It is also immune to magnetism, which will usually be worthless. Gut Style is a form with one massively larger arm, like it just finished a 12-hour... Actually, I don't think YouTube will let me make that joke. Gut Style has double the buster power and can blast in quick spurts. It has super armor, meaning it is immune from flinching and pain, and can penetrate defensive shields. This is a decent upgrade from a plain form. I'd put it behind Gutsman. Shield style, as you may expect, goes into every battle with a weak barrier, able to take any one serious hit. It can also reflect attacks back with a physical shield, and heal if it successfully parries an attack. This might be controversial, but I think it should go above Clockman. Custom and Steam dials are a little too gamey to rank well. Both are able to receive rare or power boosted chips after defeating an opponent, small fries for custom and boss level threats for team. Custom has access to 10 chips every time they reload, making them a risk for program advances. And team can put up to 10 Navi chips in their folder for a 1 in 3 chance of getting at least one for each reload. I didn't want to consider Navi chips, because any Navi hypothetically getting 5 Protoman or Plantman chips is completely broken, regardless of their abilities. But I will consider it only for team style, given his roughly 1 in 45 chance of getting 5 Navi chips on a reload. So custom style, ahead of Dive Armor Eco. Team style, all the way to the top of A, with their disgusting number of Plantman chips. He probably even has a bunch of wood and Navi 40 pluses too. Ground style, exclusive to white people, is able to attack the floor as well as automatically transform the battlefield upon engaging in combat. It can make the floor lava, a grassy meadow, or the icy tundra, or hollowed ground. Nothing for electricity, because electricity is awful for styles. This isn't that good. I guess you could burn everyone's feet by making them fight up to their ankles in lava, but they still have their hands and guns, so just past base Megaman.exe. Shadow style loses its charge shot, instead being able to briefly become intangible. It's also able to float above any problematic terrain and create a ninja substitution and counterattack. Overall, I'd say this is just a different, overall worse shield style, so it will go behind that. Upon starting a fight, Bug style will give a Navi 2 helpful abilities, ranging from 10 chips to pick from, invincibility, or a sturdy barrier, and 1 negative glitch, such as draining health, jammed buster, or causing strict drift. In addition, it negates any bugs they should have, and allows them to use bugged or dark chips without consequence. There's a lot of RNG, but I think this edges out Alpha. If you combine Guts, Shield, Custom, and Team styles, you get Hub style, though it halves Megaman's HP while in use. New top, making next Armor.EXE look like fodder. Well, maybe that's an exaggeration. Hatman is a magician with detachable teleporting hands and trick hats. He can send an unknown number of hands, at least 3, in front of his enemies to swing a sword or throw a rose dart. Any hats he sets down will release kamikaze homing pigeons. He can also show you a card that will either burn you, explode, or blast you with water. This could be a good tool set, but his number one focus is always working the crowd. He's a showman. I'm giving him the edge on Airman. Jamming Man's strongest ability is how effective he is at jamming communications. He can shut down an entire area of the internet. Beyond that, he can fire concussive blasts or set up little jamming towers. Oh, he can also make a really slow ball of lightning that sometimes tries to follow enemies. The problem is I don't think any responding force needs that much communication to find this guy. I don't see him doing much better than Thunderman. Cache is an illegitimate son Wily accidentally created by forgetting to clear his cache. Cache's signature ability is mining other people's caches for their Navis or viruses and creating cache copies. While they are significantly weaker, there is no known limit to how many or how quickly he can create these copies. He can also mutate by consuming cache data. This provides a protective barrier but replaces his legs with goo. Base and Mutant Cache can create rings that turn once to pursue targets. Mutating also grants him a laser ability. I think Beyond Flashman would be a good spot. There are a lot of variables necessary to fully realize his high potential. The pistol-flipping Rideman can expectedly empty his 3-shooter. He can also whip a chain and make tumbleweeds blow by to trip up opponents. Man, I think I'm seeing him ahead of Rockman.exe. Reverse is a parasitic Trojan Navi able to burrow into other Navis and wear them like a skin. He can also flip to his natural werehorse-like state. In this form, he can fling his shoes at enemies, teleport in front of them to deliver a roundhouse kick, or I'm honestly not sure what is happening here. I think he's supposed to be in the air, kicking so hard air crashes into the ground and he effectively hovers. That last move I think edges out Pharaohman.exe, but the rest isn't as amazing. The Trojan Horse is an ancient virus able to spit fire or use reverses air kick. His most powerful abilities involve his hacking skills and ability to erect backdoors to spray viruses and junk from. I'm seeing it fall behind Alpha. Finally, analysis is complete and Dive Cross Mega Man is a special form Rico unlocked in the X-Dive phone game. He can blast a swirling beam, followed by homing feathers or spam Life Sword program advances. He gains a shield anytime somebody tries to attack him. He would do well in most matchups against the best Earth could throw at him. I'd say behind Dive Eco. That's all for today, but the second half of the Battle Network cast will come soon.